The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
I got one. When I first heard about Dave being trapped in a maze, I was like, well, at least he's not sucking a big veiny dick for Kickstarter money.
That's not how Kickstarter works.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Art Style Kamikaze. I'm talking real low because everybody in the house is sleeping that's here. My toilet is backed up and my daughter is sick. Hence why you see the little picture on the side. Jade wanted me to make sure that I put that up so everybody knows that she's sick. So anyway, welcome. This is another Saturday night at an earlier time. I know it's crazy to think about that. Believe it or not, I used to like it at a later time because I could get here and anything that I had to do in the night could be done. But the problem is, guys, I'm old. Too old now. And so now I want to fall asleep. But anyway, tonight's show was actually going to be about set designs and production designs and stuff, but that's not something I really want to get into without having somebody here to talk to with. And as you can see that she's laid up in the bed with her My Little Pony blanket. And yes, you can make fun of that. I don't really want to put that together without her here. So we're going to wait till next week and we'll see about that. What I'm going to do tonight is going to kind of just take approach and do some sketching. I don't even consider myself a pro. I do comic book work. I get hired to do comic book work. I get commissions and yes, and blah, 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 blah. But I don't really necessarily consider myself on the exactly pro level yet. So, but, there's people in the chat. Look at this. Michael DeFonte. Hey, Mike says, nice. I was unsure if there was going to be a stream tonight. Yeah, last week, Jake wasn't feeling too great either, and I wasn't up to it. So, unfortunately, it didn't happen. I like to try to put together a decent show, and then, of course, we've got Glenn. Glenn's here. I'm here in England. It's just after 2 a.m. Golly. One night I'll get some of that. What is it now? Sleep. Yeah, I understand that feeling. But let's say you should come here. Everybody else is sleeping. So Nita's off about an hour away from here, sleeping in the cold. In case you haven't seen her Facebook post. I don't know why the hell they don't have heat in the cabin. Of course, why the hell does somebody go camping in November? I don't know. I don't get it. See, in Louisiana, it's not that big of a deal necessarily because you don't know what you're going to get as far as the weather's concerned, especially around here, right? So it could be hot as all get out, and it could be cold, but you never know exactly what you're going to get. So, whatever. Oh, yeah, and I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I had a Thanksgiving. I actually took my girls, who the only ones I have is my 2 daughters. This weekend, Nita has the boys. I actually took them to go see Thanksgiving. Yep. That says Thanksgiving like a horror movie. And it wasn't too bad. I'll give it that. It wasn't that horrible. I wasn't horrible. I actually enjoyed it, come to think of it. But it was kind of one of those movies that knew what it was. So anyway, this is art. So I'm going to drop a card and I'm going to maybe doodle something. Let's see. All these buttons and everything. I'm getting too old for this. All right. So anyway. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with a guy named Dave Jerton, but he does Creature Box. And what's interesting to watch them do is they'll take these shapes and stuff and they'll just kind of draw a creature out of it. So The Glenn says Louisiana is like a box of chocolates. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. You don't know what you're going to get. So, but anyway, so he kind of takes some shapes and he makes things out of the shapes, creatures and stuff like that. I'm nowhere near that good. So, we're going to see what happens, what I create, and let's see how it goes. So usually I try to start with a feeling when I'm doing art, uh, which is pretty much a rhythm, right? So I kind of want a rhythm. I kind of want something kind of slouchy. So I'm going to try to get a little slouchy in here. Maybe something with a crooked neck, like a vulture. Maybe something around that lines. That line. So I'm just going to be really loose. One thing you see these guys come out, man. They've got this. They give you this sketchbook. I see J. Scott Campbell. I see Humberto Ramos. They give, oh, here's their sketchbook, and they have their sketchbook on sale and all this, and it's all nice artwork and perfectly precisioned artwork, perfectly balanced, perfectly lined. There might be a couple sketches or something in there, and they just kind of, make you feel bad for having art. But my sketchbook is not that clean. And I don't really, and a lot of times they won't tell you. I think Rob Liefeld said it one time that he's got several sketchbooks he won't let you see because all they are scribbles. And that's what it is when it comes to art. It's really getting those scribbles down. So it's really kind of getting that idea of what you want. Because the thing is that you're not conveying lines, you're actually conveying feeling, you're conveying atmosphere around your pieces. So let's say kind of like here, I kind of want it, maybe it's wringing his hands together. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'm just going to get messy here and just kind of get it going and see what we come up with. But so if you feel free to talk in the chat, I'm right here. I can see the comments and everything. Maybe I'm kind of add a little bit of a clawed hooven foot thing happening down here. I don't know. It doesn't have to necessarily be a vulture, but I was going to do an angry art style tutorial for tonight, but I didn't get around to doing it. It's been a pretty hectic, year actually. So, but I wanted to talk about silhouettes, and I might just go ahead and show you what I had anyway to let you know, let you see what I was doing. But and see it already. Honestly, I'm kind of like, I'm not necessarily feeling this per se, but there are parts of it that I am. So it's kind of like, what can I make out of it? It might not come out great or anything. But look, Mike says I'm working on my comic while watching this. All right. Hey, that's great. So that's good yeah. Hey, that's some of the best time to do stuff is to listen and watch stuff is when you're working on something. I am kind of getting that vulture feel from it. But now I'm adding some kind of a beard. What am I doing? I don't know. I'm just going. I'm just doing. Just rolling around. I have no idea. So, but yeah, I wanted to talk about production designs and stuff like that. So, Glenn says he said I'm putting together the next issue of Comics Unlimited, and I think previous issues are on Amazon. You guys can check that out. So. And I'm sorry, I might not be that entertaining. I have no idea. To be honest with you, I'm able to do this when I'm with some people and talk. I've never done this by myself. I have no idea if I'm going to be any good. This is going to probably be a train wreck. So if anything, you can always tune in and watch the train wreck. I promise you, this is probably not going to come out as some great work of art at the end of it. So, but hey, you never know. I'm kind of going to lower the opacity on this a little bit. Add another layer and see if I can't flesh out a little bit more of this. Like, I kind of like this here. Now, if I was going to do this and 2 dimensions or on 2 dimensions. If I was going to do this on traditional paper, I would make my lines extremely light, right? To really convey. So but since I don't have to do that, I can kind of get in here, just be messy, just mess around, get this done. I want to work with shapes. What shape? Like, for instance, here I have this shape here. Uh, that I'm doing. This kind of, it's almost like a triangle. And if you remember a couple of these backs, couple of these episodes back, we had a curvy tutorial where we talked about contours and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking here is I'm looking about the contours of this creature, this thing, and using these shapes to kind of bring it about. So, and really, in all honesty, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I really actually like doing it on pencil and paper uh, to get a better view of it. So, I don't know, there's just a feeling to it that gets me more creative on that issue, but this is not bad either. Uh, let's see, let's make this layered here. I feel like now it's kind of an old character, right? I have no idea. Is this a beak? Is it a nose? I don't know. We'll see. I kind of feel a nostril here, but I don't know. Maybe some weird whacked out yes. And they also throw that computer in the swamp, huh? No, I don't think we'll do that. Everything has its place. Uh Considering the fact that I don't have to put a whole bunch of paper together to just to get a vanishing point off of the page. I don't want to do that, so but anyway. See here, okay, and here's the thing. Okay, you can hate digital art and that's perfectly fine. That you have your own prerogative. However, it's very dismissive to just drop it out. This is not AI or anything else like that. Techniques are still involved here. It's a medium. It's a freaking medium. Uh I don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on markers and things like that to get a comic book done. It gets done in the way that it needs to get done, and any way it gets done. And I promise you, anybody who's reading the comic book doesn't care how it gets done. Now you can look at it. Now, see, that's another thing that's always bothered me is everybody talks about how you can't sell digital art at shows. Okay, but yet I still seem to sell digital art to people anyway. So whatever in that issue. But I'm also not going to cons and shows either, so because to be completely honest with you, I'm not from people I've heard and stuff like that. I just I'm not convinced that there's uh value in that. Oh no 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 no! Well, you can't sell your original layers because you have none, and I didn't say I hated computer art. That's not true. I've actually seen people sell their things. It's just like a commemorative plate. If you sell it like as in this is number one, or this is the authentic, and do that, you can actually sell it. I've seen people do it. Uh, it's kind of an old fashioned idea to think that way. Sorry. But I've seen people have been able to sell their roughs in digital formats. It's called a printer. It does work. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as buying a comic book. So, sorry. I don't get me wrong. I used to think the same way too. And then when I saw that people still bought it, they didn't care. And it was like, okay, there you go. Allison says, I use both mediums to work. I prefer traditional because I like to feel better. Well, there you go. That's fine. Everybody makes art in different ways. As long as you're making art with the techniques and things that you've learned and they're coming from you. That's all that is. That's all it is. Allison says, I've been known to do pencils digitally, then print them and do inks over them. I can then sell the original inks. Perfectly fine. However, here's my issue with that. That's great and all, and you can sell them. You could go to and hopefully sell your inks. And if you do it, fantastic. Here's the deal. How is that helping produce faster? Okay. Glenn says, I sell my originals for hundreds and prints for tens. Go figure. Okay. I'm not even talking about prints, Glenn. I'm not. I'm talking about things that are, this is printed one time and that's it. Hey, commemorative plates sell. I'm just saying. But I'm not gonna, and that's the thing. You can sit there, you can take your pencils off, you can print them off and you can sell them. And that's perfectly fine. And you can ink them. I produce faster because I don't make 100 mistakes. Get it right. That's great, Glenn. I'm so happy for you. But we can't all be as fucking perfect as you are, man. That's just the case. But I got news for you. You make more mistakes than you think you do, whether you admit to it or you don't. Well, Glenn says that's harsh. That's life. Allison says she has. I have MS. Nothing I do is fast. That's fine, but the issue comes in where I could sit here and why the hell am I doing this? Do what you want to do. That's fine. But to make an idea that your way is better than everyone else's and I should just throw my computer into the trash is freaking ridiculous. It's utterly barbaric, in all honesty. And so, whatever. And so now I don't have to worry about if I do make mistakes, then I can clean them up or whatever the case is. But and I have traditional stuff. I could do a comic book in traditional. Again, I never say my way was better. I never said I don't make mistakes. You just said you didn't make 100 mistakes. I got you. Okay. But whichever way you want to do it, sometimes my mistakes actually produce something. And I kind of like that. So, but the idea was throwing away and dismissing a certain medium because you don't agree with it, which is what you did, what you have always done. is ridiculous. I think people have felt kind of backed into a corner over this kind of thing, and I'm not really going to do that anymore. That's just it. Allison says, I definitely work faster if I do all digital. So many less steps. No, absolutely, that's true. And that's the thing about it is am I trying? I'm not trying to make art to sell at a convention. I'm not. That's just the case. Uh, to be honest with you, I'm not even making comic books to sell at a convention. Okay. Uh, people might not like the way that idea. That might upset a lot of freaking people. Here's the thing. I make comic books because I enjoy making comic books. That's how it is. I enjoy telling the story and everything else. The stuff that ends up on Kickstarter is because people hire me to do those kind of things. And because they have to make their money back. Then it makes perfect sense. They enjoy doing comic books too. But and like this here anyway, is I'm not going to try to sell it. I'm not trying to sell it. Uh, but that and now I don't have to worry about what mistakes I'm going to make on it. If I make mistakes on it, I can change it or do whatever I want to do with it. But you know, and here's the thing: it was definitely a step moving into digital art. Is not something that I particularly wanted to do because I was in that same mindset. Uh, and this is what professionals do. And this is let me tell you something. To consider and think considerably about what somebody else does or has been doing for the past few years within reason, because you still have to take into consideration that there is a bunch of people who know more than you do. Uh, uh, the thing is, you have to move forward. People don't move forward by worrying about trying to look exactly like or do it exactly like the others in the past have done it. You don't. Oh, Allison says, when I was doing more cons, most people didn't buy my pages. They mainly bought fan art character commissions. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is like I'm not drawing Spider-Man, right? I'm not drawing Spider-Man comics. If I was Todd McFarlane or whatever, and I'm doing that kind of thing, yeah, I can completely understand why you would want an original, quote unquote, traditional version of that. Uh, but if it's something that I'm doing for myself and something that I have on Webtoons or whatever the case is, I don't see you really going to buy those things. So why am I wasting time to make art for that audience that's not there, setting up the page, going as opposed to just opening up and moving forward? And we've gotten to that point where this is what this is now. This is what professionals do is they do draw digitally. There's a lot of people who held out. I've been told the same thing by people who looked at my portfolio. They didn't like they didn't really like digital art because they liked all the mistakes and everything. And I promise you, on digital art, you can make mistakes and they can still come through. It does. It happens. So look at some of my comics. Allison said there is really no wrong way to art. But but again, this is my opinion. And people can get upset about my opinion. You know what? To be completely honest with you, I'm done giving a fuck. To be honest, I have been lambasted with this opinion for so many freaking times that I think it's time that you shut up and you get an opinion back at you. That's all there is to it. Um, and that's the case. As as long as you're not murdering people to make good art. Yeah, ain't that right, Allison? I mean, there are lines, right? There's got to be. There really has to be. She says, "I love the vulture." By the way, I'm glad. Is that what that's supposed to be? I hope so. I'm just kind of messing around, like I said. I think I was thinking horror when I first started it, but I don't know what I'm doing now. Just messing around. I did something earlier that I kind of liked. That I'll probably some. I think it's a frog throwing a baseball. So it's whatever it is. But really what it comes down to is this is the stuff that I do just to kind of practice and get an idea of for my shape language. I want to get that muscle. And that's the issue. The shape language is like for me is one of the most important parts because in that when you look at something you have a tendency your mind sees what it conveys, not necessarily every detail on what it's conveying. uh so that way you can like you go back and you zoom in on some people's artwork and it doesn't do exactly like you thought in your head that it was doing, and that's because the shape language that's like your overall kind of like your outline. But for okay, here this is what I was going to do. uh all right, so when you're dealing with silhouettes, you want a good silhouette, especially when you're creating a character. um and this is, you know, this is kind of just the basis for things. Yeah, like Allison says, shape design is everything there. It is. It is. So, like here, yep, I preach shape design silhouettes. Absolutely, keep preaching, because a lot of people get caught up on doing anatomy. And this was okay when I started to get into this. Uh, when I started to get in this, I was concentrating on superhero anatomy. You concentrated on the biceps, and you're concentrating on the, you know, the little lines and muscles and things like that. But here's the deal: people are, while they'll see that, they won't see it as clearly as your outside and your they won't see it as clearly as the outside shape. So okay, for instance, everybody can, I pull this character up, this is a silhouette, everybody knows this character, right? I don't even have to pull this away. I don't even have to show you the picture underneath it for you to know who this is. Why? Because of it's got the ears, it's got the cape, it's got the little um whatever that is on his on his cuffs. What is, I guess, I don't know what you call those. I'm sure there's a name for them. I have no idea. But let's say, okay, I pulled this away. I pulled it way too far away. Hold on. All right, so I dropped the silhouette. Boom, and it's Batman, obviously. But see, but I didn't even have to show you this for you to see that it was Batman, because the shape language has told you straight up that it's Batman. You do not have a thingamahicky-deuce. There you go, Alice. Yes, you can tell from the thingamadoohickeys, all right, on the silhouette that that's Batman. But when I pull it away, well, not that way. When I pull that silhouette away, you can still see, and this is, of course, the Bruce Timm Batman. So it's not as detailed as, say, it's not as detailed as, say, I guess consider a Mark Silvestri Batman, or a David Finch Batman, or a Jim Lee Batman, what have you. But it still conveys who it is. It's still good, and goodness sakes, it's Bruce Timm, right? So you have that. That's a pretty blatant outline. Now you look at this one here. Okay, this is really, it is an anatomically correct person. There doesn't look like there's really much of a shape language to it, or whatever the case is. But people who know can pretty much tell who this is in the shape just from the little added tweaks done in the clothing. For instance, the hat, the tufts on his shorts right there, and eventually later on his scarf. And if you don't know who this is, yeah, like a Neil Adams Batman. Yeah, excellent. But when I pull the silhouette away, you see it's a straw hat, and you see it's one piece Luffy. And even though he still has the same features or whatever of just a person wearing clothes, but just those clothes and that silhouette helps you know who he is. And of course, this works really well when you get into cartoon characters. Again, this is a cartoon character. Everybody knows. I don't have to pull this away for you to see who this is. I don't. I should probably back up. But I don't have to pull this away for you to see who this is. But it has a very clear it's clearly defined. It's clearly characterized. But in case you don't know who this is, right? And here's the thing: when you think of Bugs, this is what you think of. But however, I'm going to tell you, in all honesty, this is what sticks in your mind. And Alice, it's one of the reasons I make my art more stylized. That's why I enjoy it. Brown Elf 79 Media says, "Cool, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Brown Elf." But yeah, exactly, and that's the thing, is that stylization sticks out to people. I'll give you another cartoon character. Yeah, and I'm not pulling the silhouette away from this one, but I think this is probably your biggest. Let's be honest; it doesn't necessarily look like what it's made to look like. But you know this character. This character makes its company $4 billion a year on its image alone. And this is its silhouette. And that's the case. And I'm not pulling this away because this is YouTube, and I am not about to get in trouble for that. But not only do silhouettes work out to get those character designs. Yeah, that's right. It's just 3 circles. That's all it is. So anyway, but here's the great thing about silhouettes, and this is going to help you out if you're trying to get poses and things of that nature. You also want your silhouettes to have clear silhouettes and posing, because that's also going to convey. It's not just character design. It's also about conveying the emotions and the poses. Okay, for instance, I'm going to pull this up. This is the little guy I did today. You recognize the little green guy, right? All right. So here we go. Here he's stretched out. He's got the squash. You got the stretch here, right? Hold on. So here you've got the squash, the stretch, and everything. So, but watch this. I'm gonna put the silhouette over him. This silhouette, you can still see what he's doing. You can still see he's kind of having that powerful walk. It doesn't even matter what character it is. The pose just helps you get the silhouette just helps you get the idea of the pose and it conveys. So you don't necessarily have to see what's happening. You ever see? I kind of liken it to like, have you ever seen those paragraphs or sentences and they're missing letters, but you can still read it because the first and the last letter, the first and the last letter are in the right places, but all the letters in between are jumbled or whatever the case is, but you can still read it. And it's because I'm not going to get into why that is, or even if what they say why that is right. But because the shape of the word is there, you're able to read it. Well, that's the same thing. Yeah, Mike Luffy. Yeah. What? Yeah, me. I've been watching. I have made it my mission to watch all 1,000 and climbing episodes of One Piece right now. I'm almost on 300, and I actually am really enjoying it. So, what's that tell you? I watch it while I draw. See, that's another thing. You can watch stuff while you draw. Now, when you write, it's a whole nother story. That's totally something different. But so anyway, so yeah, I'm conveying that. Now, here's what a lot of people get confused on with these silhouettes. For instance, if I'm going to put a silhouette back here. All right. So I'm going to kind of bring the opacity down on that character so we can see, which is what I normally do. And Allison said it's because we understand the patterns and fill in the blanks. Right. So here's kind of I'm going to try to get this down here a bit. Here's what we're looking at. Now, here's the thing. I can pull this up. I'll put this in the silhouette. And now the back, well, let's take the back end off first. Okay. So if I were going to pull this up and just have it in the silhouette, you could still convey what's going on. You still have the idea of what this character and this silhouette and pose are doing. All right. So, but here's the problem. Now, I want to add the other character in on this, right? So now what? Oh, well, silhouettes don't work. See, it works perfectly fine. Now you stack silhouettes. Well, that's the thing. Doesn't necessarily have to work when you have two characters there. It brings it out more, but it doesn't have to work. But this is what you would do. I have stacked silhouettes. This silhouette down here is clear, and that silhouette in the back is clear. Your clarity is going to end up coming between when you have it colored or whatever the case is. So, yeah. So Allison says, we naturally look for patterns in everything. It's an evolutionary trait that kept us alive for a long time. Yes. And change the color fixed. Exactly. And that's the thing. So when you look at this, you see that you can have two clear silhouettes, perfectly clear silhouettes. Now we'll bring that down, and there you go. And now you have a lower opacity in the background, so that character in the front stands out, and there you go. And Allison says more science with Alley Cat. But yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what I want to try to do, and that's what I'm doing with this here. Is I'm trying to get an idea of silhouette, and I'm not perfect at it at all, not right now. See that leg's not going to work right there. I love it. These guys, they get on here and they do it. They really do. I mean, they're absolutely, and they just knock this stuff out in an hour or what have you. And there's probably some secret about it that I don't know. All honesty, who knows? See, this silhouette here is, I'm not liking that too much. But like I said, but yeah, this leg is not working out for me here. It needs to come back into perspective. But I'll fix that later. I don't know why I'm going to put a lizard tail on a vulture because why not? Let's do that. But yeah, who knows? I mean, I'll probably end up having more streams like this. I'm not really. I kind of wanted to do where I take the some of the lessons from the Etherington brothers and just kind of go over their lessons live, like not live, yeah, and learn. That's the thing here. That's all I'm doing is learning. I want to learn better on my textures, really. Uh, I was used to get upset really badly because I kind of got roped into just kind of being this cartoonist or whatever the case is. And it used to bug me when that's what people kind of think, oh well, that's all I did or whatever the case is. Like, no, I could do more, not realistic, but more comic book. But you know what? Doing that stuff, it honestly it doesn't make me happy. It really doesn't. I enjoy the artwork that these guys put out. Jim Lee, David Finch, Mark Silvestri, so on and so forth. Neil Adams. It's fantastic stuff. But for me to be involved, I kind of like the more cartoony, the or not even. I hate to say cartoony because that's how we convey it. But I think a better way would be stylized, really. And of course, I want to up my game to being a little more stylized. And that's one way to do it is in order. And you're always looking at it. There's always somebody. All these new guys are always like, "Oh, I want my style. How do I find my style? How do I find my style?" One, stop. Yeah, Brownell says, "I don't have enough time in the day to be really intricate," and especially if you're trying to produce comic books fast, and you have a 40-hour a week job or more, depending, you really don't have the time to be intricate, doing that. And Allison says, I got a commission to do things in a Frazetta style. I don't like drawing that way, but it paid a lot. Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? It sometimes that pays there, and so you just kind of get paid that way to do it. Um Now I will say for the past now I have not had a book yet that I did not enjoy doing. Really. So everything that I'm commissioned to do so far has been something that I enjoy doing. But however, there was one guy. I will do something every once in a while, like a sketch or whatever, to kind of have that more realistic style to it. And so it'll have that more realistic style to it, just so I can kind of keep up with it, just to kind of expand my horizons. Somebody saw that one day and they were trying to hire me to do that, and I really didn't. I drew them a character design, which I didn't get paid for. By the way, but which is why I don't do. I have plenty. let me say this: I didn't get paid for that character design. It wasn't realistic enough for him. I told him, in all honesty, that's fine, but in the future, that he may want to check out people's portfolios before he decides to, you know, on that issue. So please, folks, if you're going to hire an artist, make sure that that's what they do. If they could do something well and they have it on their portfolio, then hire them for that. Uh, but getting an artist to do something that they don't particularly enjoy doing, it's not going to. You're not going to get that artist's best. They're going to try. A good artist is going to try. Somebody who wants to make you happy, because, like me, I want to make my clients happy. I do. But for somebody, you want your artist to be just as comfortable with what you want. That way, you'll get the best out of that artist, and they won't become frustrated trying to do something. uh, so yeah, Brownell says, I know at least one artist with carpal tunnel for being so intricate for so long a time. Golly, I can imagine. That would hurt. And Glenn says, someone asked me draw Spider-Man as Stan Lee style. I'm still trying to work out what that would look like. I have no reference. I think somebody actually did ask him to draw Spider-Man one time at one of those conventions. So it's out there. I don't think it's good, but I think it's out there somewhere. You could be. It's amazing to me. People don't seem to understand. I've seen that a lot. Scribbles. It would look like scribbles. Mike says, Glenn, I bought your magazine from Amazon and loved it. I believe it. Glenn puts a lot of work into what he does. Absolutely. But yeah, I always like when I went to these cons and I was going to show somebody my artwork. When I always try to buy, I always try to buy a piece of their work, like a book or whatever the case is, before I go and approach them, or buy something off of their table. I just that's me. You don't necessarily have to do that. Everybody knows how it is to be a starving artist, especially those who are starving at those cons. But that's what I would like to, just give them something, because they're taking the time to look at your portfolio. And yeah. So back to the guy that wanted me to draw. This is why I don't do. I was asked a while back. Somebody approached me about a job. I was asked a while back. Hey, look, there's another artist that's involved in that wants to do. That I approached about doing this book too. Can I get you to draw something and and I'll match to see who's who, or whatever the case is. Now, in their defense, they were going to pay. But here's the thing. I was taking time out of what I was doing there to even consider that work. And it's like, okay, here's the deal. You wanted me to draw a panel. A panel, I can't see draw personally a panel for a book. I can't see drawing charging you more than $15 for it. And I said here, I said, look, to be honest with you, that's not, yeah, okay. This would be more my light source. Trying to figure out my light source, guys. You want to figure out where your light source is coming from. I should have done that earlier, but you know. So anyway, so it doesn't just work that way, right? Okay, draw a panel of of my character doing this, and it's like, one, I have to stylize what your character is going to look like in my style. Uh, for one. I have to figure it out. I have to drawing a panel off of a book by itself without having the context of the whole page is kind of a hard thing to do, and it's not going to give you enough info. And really, I kind of felt like that was just kind of a scheme to get me to charge less. And here's the deal: my prices are pretty much fixed for the most part, but I might would negotiate here and there. It depends, but it's really hard to say that. But yeah, I drew the guy a character design. I didn't charge him for it, and he ultimately didn't like it. Didn't drop me. I didn't get any money for that. I spent a lot of time doing that into that. So I'm kind of JD Calderon likes to call me the what was it? He called me the scorned or something like that. But let's see. Glenn says he said I need a new scanner. Oh wait, hold on. After the SNS cover, I have a WW2 illustrated novel to paint. It's half written, and I'm working out the visuals. Oh boy, that's going to be good. Oh, the WW2 stuff is looking amazing, Glenn. Allison says. Glenn said I may need a new scanner though. It's playing up. That will knock me back a small fortune, no doubt. Nah, I don't like scanners. Yeah, bigger scanners are expensive. Glenn says, I love your animated style. See, your drawings move. Oh, thank you so much. There's something. Anyway, Allison said, I literally have a sheet with a bunch of arrows on it positioned off the side of my art to denote light source. Yeah. I haven't tried this yet, and it's probably what I should be doing is before I even lay down lines to denote where my light source is coming from. Maybe I don't know. I think I've seen somebody do that before, but again, it's just first I want to get my shapes right. I want to get that done. I want to get it. I want to get it moved. I want to make sure that it's going to be clear on what it is. So, and then we'll worry about the light shape. But yeah, it's just if you're a writer, go out there and find people's. Make sure you look at people's. Don't just find one drawing that they do. Figure out what they look like they're comfortable doing. Because the people who are comfortable doing the type of art that you want in your book are going to be the ones that are going to bring you the best work. Allison says, I figure it out after I do my shapes. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably best. That sounds professional. I have no idea what this shaped out to be. This kind of went, whatever. I kind of wish I would have saved the frog one for online to do that one. But I think I was knocking a bunch of this stuff out, just trying to prepare myself because I knew tonight I wasn't going to be able to do. I want to do set productions, right? And that was one of the things I think, really, in all honesty. And I'm trying to remember what her name is, but I kind of wanted to showcase Batman Forever. Her set design, Barbara Ling, and even though Batman Forever was what it was, you have to hand it. Gotham was a different place. It felt like another place, and she did such a fantastic job on bringing that out. And I think she was trying to balance. You got to take in consideration. She was trying to balance the like, okay, at that point in time, they thought Tim Burton was too dark. They wanted a lighter Batman. Got Joel Schumacher. So she's trying to balance that, still trying to bring that darkness that Tim Burton had while trying to bring that kind of light, I guess, of that was a little bit lighter. And doing that, she leaned really heavy on some of the neon stuff, but but she made Gotham. Barbara Lynn made Gotham feel like it was a different place, and that's what I like to look at. That's what I appreciate about Burton's. Not even so much the first Batman, even though it had it. I think Batman Return kind of leans on it a little bit more. They had a little bit more money, probably. Especially after the freaking Batman mania of 90 of what 88, 89. I think it was 89. And I think we were able to see a different type of Gotham at that point in time. Although I do kind of go back and look like it does look kind of like a set where the Times Square is, but I mean, still, it had a style to it, and I can't remember his name. He's married to somebody. Good for him. Let me see if I can find his name because I want to look at his stuff too. But I think, and I kind of feel bad for the set designers, Bo Welch. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for the set designers. And because the thing is, I feel like they get lost in this. We kind of always kind of pay tribute to the director. We always pay tribute to the actors and things like that. But those set designers, guys, they really put a lot into the work that they do, and they create that atmosphere that we remember that movie for. So I kind of wanted to bring attention to that, and hopefully I will next week. And it's just trying to find putting this stuff together. It's hard to find those the pictures and stuff to really get it because there's other ones. I would love to look at some of the set designs for things like the Dark Crystal, right? And while we're consistently thinking, okay, Jim Henson, and that's true. Uh, what involvement did the set designers for that have? What was their influence? These movies and things are not put together by one person. It's not a one man show. It just so happens that a one man show kind of he's the one that approves it. So or he or she, the director is the one that approves it. So they get kind of the credit for it. Uh, but I really want to kind of focus on that. So, but oh golly, I cannot believe this. We're approaching the hour mark. I was really just kind of looking to do 45 minutes tonight. But that happened quickly. Happens when you're doing what you love. Uh, but so anyway, I do, however, have the second part to moments from a NFT collector. I'll play it a little bit. This one got kind of weird. I must have run. This ended up happening to where I pretty much ran this one off, or I to the point that you can't even look up the. You were able to look up the profile, and of course, it only had like 6 profile pictures on it made, all posted on either the same day or within a day or two of each other. You know how that goes. But after this, I haven't really been getting any. Now I've kind of neglected my social media trying to finish off Bombot number 1 for Stephen Tanner Hurley. And but other than that, Glenn said, "I love your art on Calico too." Thank you, Glenn. That's Calico Shard from Arrow Comics, written by Randy Zimmerman. I enjoy doing that one. He's got a second one in there. He eventually, I guess, he'll color it and release it too. So we'll see. But it's out there. I did it. I finished it. Allison says, I'm roughing out shapes for. Okay, you know I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing just Jetageki. Jetageki. Okay, look, I'm sorry. Stuff I'm doing as you work. And follow Allison because you'll see her working on her stuff over there. I'm look. I've been watching Demon Slayer with my son. Trying to pronounce some of the names on Demon Slayer are hard for me, and they're not hard names, really. So she's Allison said close enough, but yeah, I kind of miss my I don't know, my co-host tonight. She might have a touch of food poisoning. We're not too sure. Yeah, Allison said samurai stuff, right? Samurai stuff, but let's see. I'm gonna put this accent right here. And the paper I'm using here, the background paper, that kind of old pirate map looking paper, is actually from True Grit Supplies Comicraft set, which uses the old coloring method. So I might try, who knows? I might give this a shot and color it in. I might just go live one day on a week. Just have an art style kamikaze part where I just stream doing stuff. Oh yeah, I have that set. It's great. It's great. I wish I had the time to sit there. It's fun. Yeah, Allison says she has the same set. It is. I love it. Even right now, let me see. Right now I'm using the rusty nib to do the inking on this. And yeah, it's fun. It really is. Uh Not Jamie Hewitt. I don't know, I can't remember the name of the one who's doing was doing Tank Girl, I think, for Albatross now. Has a tutorial on using some of the True Grit stuff in his inking, and it is really cool. So, all right, folks, it's getting to be that time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and let's play a moment from an NFT collector, and we'll see what happens after that. Of course, this is part two from the last time. It after we've decided that I decided that maybe she's being a little deceitful, but we kept rolling, and it got kind of weird. So, be right back. Moments with an NFT collector. This isn't my first time purchasing artworks as NFTs. Well, that's obvious. You got taken for $4,000 already. Yeah. If anyone here is going to get scammed, it should be me. Well, you do have experience. So what you say, Michael? I say lots of things. Let me guess. I have to pay a gas fee to license the NFT, right? And I bet you know a site where I can do that. No, I don't. You can as well use OpenSea, a popular site with good ratings. Why can't I just send you the pictures? From our conversation, it seems you've come across a lot of scammers. Then I wouldn't have to pay you. Deal? Oh no, you have to pay. See? Already trying to scam me. If you know so much about NFTs, you know you need to upload them in a marketplace for purchase. But if you don't know so much, then allow me to guide you and stop acting like a Superman who's trying to catch a villain. Guide me? That sounds like something the sinister Lex Luthor would say. Wait, sorry. How old are you? You sound like someone trying to get my security answers now. Naughty, naughty. You must be really stubborn. I hope you know that, Michael. That's not nice to say to someone you're trying to woo. Michael. What a nasty word. My God. I've been called worse. It's okay. Yeah, it is. Are you done now? Aren't you done, Superman? Now you're just flirting. Nope, ain't feeling you. You keep talking like you are. What do you really want? I thought we were talking about what you want. This is starting to become an uncomfortable exchange. I'm not that kind of boy. So back to business. But seriously, how old are you? But seriously, I'm not telling you.
This has been Moments with an NFT Collector.
Says LOL, this is great. Let's said later. Good night, Glenn. I'll probably see you in the morning. Maybe try to hop on there on Sunday Funnies with Randy. He's hitting up one of my. See, there's another artist that I appreciate a lot is Gil Kane that Randy has been looking at this month on Comics by Night and Sunday Funnies. So, and he's a very, very technical artist, but his shadows and everything just blow me away. It really does. And it is just pulling from people like that. It's always best not to stick to, even though you like cartoony styles or, certain styles like that. It's always best to expand your reach. And with that, I'm going to say good night to Mr. Vulture. Good night to everyone here. Allison says, night, everyone. I will see people tomorrow morning. I think she's going to be also on Sunday Morning Funnies right here on IndieComicsNetwork.com. But so I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Hopefully next week I'll have my co-host back here with me. Let me see if I can't put her picture back up here again. For those just tuning in, Jaden, my co-host, this is her right at this moment. So she says. So anyway, so I'll leave you with this. Make sure that when you start art, don't look at the details yet. Figure out how the shapes work. When you figure out how the shapes work, the details are going to show themselves. So let's keep that in mind. Brown Elf says good night. Thank you. Well, thank you, Brown Elf. And let's see. So until next week, guys, stay sure to check out all the great shows on IndieComicsNetwork.com. Tomorrow morning, we have Sunday Funnies with Randy Zimmerman of Arrow Comics. We have we also have Monday is, or let's see, I think Monday is Vic, Tuesday is Rodney Fike on Fike now. Of course, Thursday Night Throwdown from the Hasm Group, and of course the vlogs on Monday and Friday. So check it out. Whatever I haven't said, Alley Cat has her show on Friday. Hung on Animation. There's so much stuff that you can check out. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell others about us. Make this, make the channel like a disease. Make sure everybody catches it. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time.
You have been watching Art Style Kamikaze. If you've experienced headaches, bleeding, or a pleasurable euphoria, please consult a physician. Unless you like that kind of thing.